Welcome back, troops, to Let's Tab 59. Hope everybody's well. Thank you so far for everyone that's supporting the channel. It's really, really appreciated. If you haven't subscribed, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Give us a thumbs up, a comment. Any support you can give me will help me. It's only a small channel. I've only been going about 6 months, but the support so far has been really good, and I do appreciate it, everybody, so thank you. Okay, that out of the way. Where am I today? With Gibraltar Point again. I did do a video up here some time ago with the trace around. She's at work today, so I'm on with Jack. So Gibraltar Point, Skegness, lovely area, big nature reserve. It's a bit flooded at the moment because we've had a lot of rain. So I'm picking my way through the puddles and the little lakes. So what I want to talk to you about today, hopefully a bit more light-hearted than some of the other videos. So I want to talk about day one in the British Army for me. Now everybody's recollections will be different, whether you went into junior leaders. For those of you who don't know, junior leaders was a thing back in the day, junior leader regiment. You could join the army when you was about 15 or so and go through junior leaders for a couple of years and then go and join the regular army, or the proper army if you like. Other people, if you were over 17, you went straight into what they called man service. Nowadays we've got the foundation college, which I suppose is what's replaced junior leaders in a way. So I came from quite a military family. My father was ex-national serviceman. He joined in 49, did a few years. My uncle, Second World War veteran. My grandfather, who I knew up until I was about 13, he survived. He was First World War veteran, and my great-grandfather, obviously I didn't know him, he was a Second Boer War veteran. So I had all these stories from my dad, from my uncles, from grandfather especially, about the army, etc. And it was something I just wanted to do. Right from an early age, I knew I was going to go into the army. So I left school at 15. Now I was terrible at school, really, really bad at school. I mean, first of all, I was thick as a whale omelette. I mean, I wasn't the brightest of people anyway. And I just didn't like it. And I didn't pay attention. My dad was busy. He was working shifts in a paper mill. My mum had a couple of jobs where there was 3 kids. So they couldn't really help me with much. They were wartime kids. They didn't have a great education. They couldn't really help me with homework. So I didn't do it. I got away with it. And I was always in trouble for that. So I thought to myself, I don't need an education. Why do I need maths and English? I'm going in the army. I'm going to be a soldier. I'm not interested. So I blew it all off. So I left school at 15. My dad took me down to, it was a youth careers centre. It wasn't a job centre then. It was a youth careers centre. And went in there, sat down in this office with a recruiting sergeant, and he told me all about the army, but he was telling me about junior leaders because I was just over 15. Now, either he described it bad, junior leaders, or I interpreted it the wrong way. Because it sounded to me, he started talking about terms, half terms and terms. He was talking in that sort of speak. And it sounded very much to me like a school. Talking about terms and education and doing maths and English, and I thought, I don't want that. It's the last thing. I want to be a soldier. So after the interview, I came out and I said to my dad, no, I don't want that. That's not what I want to do. He said, well, you're going to have to wait until you're 17 and then join man service. So that's what I did. So I kicked around for 18 months or whatever it was, doing naff jobs. And then I got to just after 17th birthday and went down the high street near where I lived and walked into the careers office, which is what you could do in those days. In those days, you could just walk in. You didn't have to book an appointment like you do now. You could just walk in and sit down with a recruiting sergeant or whatever and have a chat. So that's what I did. Walked in there, had a chat with them, told them what I wanted to do. They made an appointment for me to come back and have a further interview and have a medical and a little written test. So I went back, done that, and I failed the medical. Failed the medical because I was underweight. I was already 6'2" at 17 years old. I was 6'2", There was more meat on a butcher's pencil. There's nothing of me. So I had to go back home, pile some weight on, I can't remember how much, and went back again, resat the medical, and there was enough weight on me to get in. So I got in, so they told me to go home. They said, you'll get a letter and a travel warrant with instructions of what to do. And lo and behold, a few weeks later, I got this letter come through, quite detailed, telling me what to do, where to go, and a travel warrant attached, a little pink piece of paper that you handed in at the railway station, and they issued you with a train ticket to get you all the way to your journey. So that arrived, and it got to the day. My dad took me up the railway station. I had a little holder with a few bits they told me to pack in it. Jumped on a train up to London, changed trains up from Euston up to what I think was Birmingham New Street. I think that's right to go to get to Sutton Coldfield. Sutton Coldfield being in the Birmingham area. And that was the Army's Recruit Selection Centre. So arrived at Birmingham New Street, and at that stage of the journey on the train, you could see other guys like me that were obviously going up to the same place. We got off at Birmingham New Street station. There was a couple of corporals there, I think, with barrack dress kit on, peak cap. I went over them, showed them my paperwork. They chucked us on the back of a 4-tonner and drove us a short distance to the barracks at Sutton Coldfield, the selection centre. Now, inside there's these like blocks of accommodation, couple of stories or 3 stories high, I can't remember. And each block was named after a city. There was Edinburgh block, London block, and I went into Belfast block. So I got put into there. Now you're there for 3 days, and in that 3 days, they cover, you do a little bit of fitness testing, you do a little bit of written test, you get a lot of lectures about the army and a lot of films about the different parts of the army, the different corps and regiments, etc. And you have some interviews. And at the end of that 3-day process or so, I think it's 3 days, it's just to see if you want to go in the army and if they want you to come in the army. And to put you in the right part, you might want to be a pilot, but if it's like me and thick as a whale omelette, you ain't going to happen. So they set you off on the right course and get you into the right part of the army. Now, for me, at the end of the 3 days, I was going to go into the Royal Artillery, which I did. I went straight from Sutton Coldfield straight to the Royal Artillery Depot Regiment at Woolwich in London. So anyway, getting back to me arriving at the block, my first day. So I arrived late afternoon, maybe it was early evening, and I was shown by an orderly corporal or whatever to Belfast block, taken in there. And I think I was on the 2nd or 3rd floor, I can't remember. Took me up and allocated me a bed space. Now, the proper selection process hadn't started for the guys that were in that block. Some of them had been there 1, 2, or even 3 days waiting for the block to fill up. So they'd got a complete block of guys to go through the proper selection process. So I was one of the last to arrive, certainly the last one in my room. I think it was an 8-man room. The other guys had been there a while. So I rocks up, gets myself a bed space, squared myself away, got my head down. In the morning, everyone's getting up, off for a wash and shave. I come back into my room, and I was the last one to come into the room. Everyone else had squared themselves away. I walked back into the room, and everybody's bed was made. Not in a bed block, just normal flat bed, hospital corners. Beds were all made. Remember, at this stage, we haven't got any uniform, still in civvy clothes. So as I walked in with my towel and wash shaving kit and seen that everyone's bed was immaculate, a lad that had been there a couple of days or so said to me, listen, mate, don't worry. The woman that comes round to make the beds, she doesn't know you arrived because you got here late last night. So if I was you, when the sergeant comes round in a bit, I would tell him, put a complaint in, tell him, listen, you know. So I said, I will. So, of course, very shortly, sergeant comes round, walks in, looks at me, stood by my unmade bed, and I looked at him and I said, listen, sergeant, before you say anything, the woman that does the beds doesn't know I'm here. I arrived last night. Well, I'll tell you what, he was putting swear words at me that I'd never heard in my life, my young life. I don't know what day it was, and he just smashed me to bits, you can imagine. I'm not going to repeat some of the words he said on here. So he ripped me a new one, a proper new one. So that was really my first day in the army. Not first day in basic training, I think that's a different subject. And maybe I'll do something on that. My first day in the army, this call sign, got it completely wrong. The woman that makes the beds. I mean, what was I thinking? I just listened to anyone. I was naive, and I learnt a very, very quick lesson there on that one. But I had my 3-day selection, like I say, and everything was fine. I passed what I needed to pass. And as I say, I went straight from there. I think I had to have a haircut first. I had hair down to my shoulders. So I had my head shaved, and then another train warrant or whatever, back down to Woolwich with a few others, and we got there and started our training, but proper, if you like. And that was the start of my journey. But that was my first day, my first morning. You know, the woman that makes the beds doesn't know you're here. What was that all about? Anyway, hope everyone's well. Please keep supporting the channel if you can. It's very much appreciated. Lots more videos to come, I promise you. But as always, till the next time, troops, stay safe and let's tab.